Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Monday evening, which means it is the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show. The show where we sit down and we talk about all of the latest Everton transfer rumours and we basically rank them from complete rubbish to is there a possibility of it happening to make it happen, get it done straight away. We're going to talk about all of the transfer rumours that have cropped up over the last week or so. There's some really interesting ones. I want to say a massive thank you for all of the support on yesterday's video. We've done a little bit of a recap, a little bit of a weekly roundup because I actually missed the live stream or video on Friday, so I do apologise for that one, but I hope you all enjoyed yesterday's video where we just sat down. We spoke a little bit about Adrien Rabiot, who we'll talk about in just a second, and how he could potentially want to join Everton, and we also spoke about Moise Kean and various other Everton topics as well. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely check that out after this live stream. But we are here to talk about transfers as we are every single Monday evening. Like I said, there's a couple of transfer rumours that have come out over the last sort of 24, 48 hours or so that are definitely worth talking about and worth ranking. We're seeing every single week now transfer rumours, coming out of different newspapers, coming out of different journalists. There's a lot of people that are starting to, create these rumours linking players with moves to the football club, as well as creating rumours linking players with moves away from the football club as well. So firstly, we're going to talk about Adrien Rabiot. We spoke about him last week, and I think we spoke about him the week before as well. And, we spoke about the potential of Everton making a move for the Juventus midfielder. Now, I think it's become quite apparent that a lot of these transfer rumours are based around a couple of positions, specifically centre-back and central midfield. Rabiot obviously fitting into the central midfield position. And that, to me, states that Carlo Ancelotti is very clearly, and Marcel Brands are very clearly looking for a central midfield option this summer. Now, whether that's, to be somebody that can fit into the Idrissa Gana Gueye-esque role and potentially see Jean-Philippe Gabamba move back to the centre-back position when he returns from injury, or whether it's somebody to come in and adopt that creative role that we're desperately lacking. However, wherever it may be, it seems that Carlo Ancelotti and Marcel Brands are interested in midfielders. And like I said, we seen the link to Rabiot last week, and we spoke about how I thought, Everton were just sort of thrown in there as, another team to be thrown into the hat next to Manchester United. The rumour itself was largely surrounding Manchester United being interested in the player, and of course the player currently, or had at the time, an ongoing issue with Juventus, a dispute over his wages. So again, when a player has a little bit of a dispute, when a player has a little bit of a falling out with his current club, you will see transfer rumours come, out of the blue, left, right and centre, because, journalists and companies are trying to make money, trying to get people to buy the papers, trying to get people to click on the articles and linking these players with moves away from the football club. And like I said last week, I think we put this one in rubbish because Everton were linked with Rabiot, and again, it's like I say, it was in the same article as Manchester United, and I really didn't think there was any chance of the player coming to Everton. I don't think we'd have paid the money for him. I don't think, we'd have been able to offer him the wages he would have wanted, and I just don't believe that Everton would have been a club that he would have looked at and thought, I'll go to them. He'd be leaving a club like Juventus, who obviously are winning their league in Italy year in, year out. They're competing in the Champions League. They're strong favourites for the Champions League every single year. Obviously, previously come from PSG, again a team that are winning their league year in, year out, and again a team that are competing in, the higher level of the Champions League and the knockout stages, etc. And always a team that are touted to do well every year. So I really didn't think Everton would be a club that he'd look at, and specifically, he'd had questions surrounding his attitude before, and I think a lot of fans were a little bit, worried about that. However, over the last sort of 48 hours or so, it has been, it's come out, or there's been a transfer rumour that was from L'Equipe, and I think this is why a lot of fans sort of listened to this, and a lot of fans' ears sort of pricked up about this. I mentioned it briefly, like I said yesterday, in the little recap video that we done. It's coming from quite a reliable source. Now, if this had come from any old Tom, Dick or Harry off the street, or anybody from Twitter, I'd have probably looked at it and gone, I don't really believe it, but it's coming from quite a reliable source in L'Equipe, who obviously a French media source, and have got a lot of transfer rumours and transfer news right before. Now, don't get me wrong, they've got a couple of bits of information wrong here and there, but generally they are quite a reliable source, and they have stated that Adrien Rabiot has apparently told Juventus that he wants to move to Everton. He wants the Everton Everton move. He's not interested in Manchester United. He wants to come to Everton. And this comes after a day or so before it. There was a transfer rumour that stated that Rabiot had actually had a telephone conversation with Carlo Ancelotti, and he was edging towards wanting to join Everton over Manchester United and over any other club. But there wasn't anything solid in that. It was just stating that he'd had a phone call with Ancelotti, he'd liked what he'd heard, and, you know, he potentially might be tempted to want to join the football club. So it didn't really take much note of that. Again, it didn't come from as a reliable source. But then little quip, you know, putting out that Rabiot wants to join Everton after that phone call with Carlo Ancelotti. I thought it was really, really interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in possibly straight away, because like I said, I wasn't too convinced that there was anything in the rumours linking Rabiot to a move to Everton Football Club. I wasn't that convinced that there was anything in the rumours stating that Carlo Ancelotti was interested in the player. But then when you see a source like a little quip come out and say, you know, that the player's had a phone call with the manager, and that, you know, he basically is convinced him he wants to come and join Everton, there's a current dispute with his current club, you know, it's very, very possible that Everton might go in for somebody like an Adrien Rabiot in the summer, and with him having that confidence in the manager that, you know, he's apparently spoken to him, and with Juventus obviously having the issue currently with his wages, it would make sense for Juventus to want to get him off the books, get rid of that issue, and obviously it makes sense for the player to want to come to a football club that he seems like, you know, he wants to come to now. And we've seen multiple times over the years, and one very, very recognisable situation that is similar to this is the Luca Dean situation. When Luca Dean come to Everton Football Club, he come out in one of his first interviews and he said that he was absolutely happy at Barcelona and he didn't want to leave Barcelona, he wasn't interested in any move. And then he spoke to Marco Silva, and actually speaking to Marco Silva convinced him purely to come to Everton Football Club and believe in the project. So it sounds like something similar has happened with Adrien Rabiot and Carlo Ancelotti. We know the type of pulling power that Carlo Ancelotti can have and hopefully will have over this level of players. There's no doubt in Rabiot's quality. He is a very, very good player. Okay, there's questions surrounding his attitude, and there's questions surrounding, you know, whether he'd be able to come in and whether he'd be able to get his head down and purely play for the football club rather than his priority being himself. And if he can, then you know what, absolutely fair enough. Like I said, he's a player with quite a lot of quality, and a player that I definitely think would improve our squad and improve our current team and our current setup. Again, his attitude, you know, has come into question, but I suppose we have to sort of just put that one on the back burner until he has an attitude issue with Everton Football Club. He has only been at Juventus for about a year or so, I believe, coming in from PSG. So it's really, really interesting, and like I said, it's going straight in possibly for the time being, because I originally, last week when we first spoke about Adrien Rabiot, I thought, no, got absolutely no chance of him coming. I don't really think he wants to move. I think we've just been put in the hat, you know, for the sake of making up numbers. Now that he seems to have had a conversation, or allegedly has had a conversation with Carlo Ancelotti and wants to move, it's really, really interesting, and that's why I'm putting that one in possibly. So let me know your thoughts on the Adrien Rabiot in the comment section down below. If you're watching in the live comments, big thanks for watching. 19 people currently watching. If you're interested in me talking about the return of the Bundesliga and the return of football and why I particularly didn't really like it, there'll be a video going up on my personal channel at some point tonight. I want to say around about 8 o'clock. A little brief 10-minute video of basically just me saying why I didn't really enjoy the Borussia Dortmund versus Schalke game on Saturday. So I've left the link to the channel in the description. You can go over there after this stream, you can subscribe, you can watch the videos that are currently on there, but that video will be up later tonight. If you're enjoying the stream as well, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Anyway, on to the next transfer rumour, another quite interesting one, another player that we've been linked to before over the last couple of weeks or so, and that is Roma midfielder Lorenzo Pellegrini. And this is coming from the Twitter at Nico Scherer, and we've spoke about, I'm just going to say Nico because I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but we spoke about Nico and his transfer rumours over the last couple of weeks or so, and he tends to be a source that, you know, leaks and rumours a lot of transfers, you know, between clubs, not just Everton, between a lot of clubs surrounding Europe. And again, he was a guy that got a couple of transfer rumours correct actually in the last January transfer window and also the summer prior to that. So, you know, again, in terms of reliability, I wouldn't say he's the most reliable source on the planet, but I also wouldn't say, you know, he's one of those sources that you look at and you think, I'm not going to listen to, because there was a couple of transfers specifically in January that weren't Everton related that I just remember seeing him, you know, come out and saying, and I remember seeing him leak, and then, you know, a few days later they were coming to fruition and they were actually true. So I always like to listen to to what he has to say. And he rumoured a couple of days ago, he put out that Everton are interested in Roma midfielder Lorenzo Pellegrini. PSG are also interested in the player and quite fond of him and want to bring him in, and it would be for a price of 30 million euros, which will be paid in 2 instalments of obviously 15 million euro. Now again, I'm struggling to figure out where I put this transfer rumour, because I really do like Lorenzo Pellegrini. He's a player, like I said, that's been linked with Everton before. He was linked a couple of weeks ago actually in a joint deal with Moise Kean. The rumour at that point was that apparently Moise Kean was going to go over to Roma on a 2-year loan and Pellegrini was going to come to Everton on a 2-year loan. We spoke about the dangers of that and the dangers of players, leaving clubs on 2-year loans and teams building, clubs building teams around those types of players, and then ultimately them going back to the parent club after a couple of years and that sort of setup falling to pieces. But this obviously is a little bit different. It's really interesting. It's stating that Everton apparently want him and are willing to sign him for 30 million euros, which will be paid in 2 instalments, which again makes this transfer rumour a little bit more solid in my opinion, that it includes that little bit of information that it will be paid in instalments, because we know most football clubs, including Everton in this day and age, like to do their business in instalments. We signed Moise Kean in a number of instalments, and this is stating that we would sign Pellegrini in a number of instalments as well. I do think this one is possible. I do think it's possible, but controversially probably I'm going to put it in complete rubbish, because as soon as I seen this rumour, the first name I seen in this transfer rumour was PSG, and I'm not saying that if Everton were in for a player and a club like PSG were in for the same player, Everton would have absolutely no chance of signing that player. I'm just saying that, when PSG seem to be involved in these type of situations, they've got a lot of money at their disposal. They're able to pay the asking fee of any club realistically, and players are, ultimately excited by the idea of going playing for PSG. At the end of the day, if you're a professional footballer, you've got no links to Everton whatsoever, you probably don't know an awful lot about the football club, and PSG are also interested in you, you're more than likely going to want to go and move to PSG. You'd be moving to a club where you'd be guaranteed to win the league every year, you'd be guaranteed to be playing Champions League football every year, and you'd be also guaranteed to, probably be doing quite decent in the Champions League as well. So the fact that PSG are linked with Pellegrini as well is a little bit worrying, and that's why I'm putting it in complete rubbish straight away. He's an absolutely fantastic player, don't get me wrong, and I would really like him at Everton. He's that creative type of midfielder that we really do need. Still very young, still got a lot of potential ahead of him. Again, is it ideal? Is he ideal for the football club? Probably not, because like I said, he is still young and he's still got a bright future ahead of him and he's got a lot of potential. But at the moment, in terms of that midfield position, I'd want to bring somebody in that's got a little bit more experience, that's been there and done it a little bit more, so we know that we're bringing a seasoned professional in that can come in and hit the ground running straight away, rather than a young player that we're going to have to build up. Because, we've seen what happened with Moise Kean, and we've seen it happen multiple times in the past, is that, you realistically, you need a strong team and you need a strong setup and a strong group of players if young players are going to be able to reach and achieve their potential, and I'm just unsure that we have that strong group for Pellegrini to be able to fit in. Don't get me wrong, he's got the quality and he's got the ability, but again, I'm putting this one in complete rubbish straight away, because I just can't see it happening. I really can't. I can see Pellegrini going to a side like PSG, maybe even a side like Real Madrid, and carrying on his football career there. So that is that one. Let me know your thoughts on the Pellegrini transfer rumour, of course, coming from Nico Shearer, and that is that Everton apparently are interested in Roma midfielder Lorenzo Pellegrini. PSG also interested, and the fee would be 30 million euros paid in 2 instalments of obviously 15 million euros. I'll dive into the live comments in just a moment. We'll just get through this next transfer room and then we'll get into the live comments. If you're enjoying this team, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It really does mean a massive amount to me, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. The next transfer rumour, I'm going to go ahead and put it in, make it happen straight away before we even mention it, and you'll find out why in just a second. That is coming from Sport, which is via Sport Witness. So Sport Witness released an article that had been written by I believe it's a Spanish publication called Sport, and that is that Everton have bid £20 million for Barcelona defender Jean-Clair Todibo, who is currently on loan at Schalke. Barca see the bid as very attractive, however, are holding out for a possible swap deal with Juve. The article doesn't state, from what I'm aware, who Barcelona are looking to hold out for in regards to a swap deal. However, It just states that Everton have bid £20 million for Jean-Clair Todibo, obviously centre-half, play for Schalke this coming weekend. We'll talk about that in a second. And, Everton have bid £20 million for him. Barcelona see the bid as very attractive. However, they, potentially will hold out for a better deal for the player. And like I said, I'm putting this one in, make it happen straight away. And I'm probably going to contradict myself a little bit here. I watched Schalke at the weekend. Obviously, they got absolutely tore to bits by Borussia Dortmund, 4-0 away from home. Jean-Clair Todibo played the first 45 minutes in that game, and there'll probably been a lot of Evertonians watching that game, and specifically to look at Todibo and to look at Jonjoe Kenny, and probably weren't very impressed with Todibo. And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't very impressed with Jean-Clair Todibo either on Saturday. I didn't think he looked on the ball. I think he got caught a couple of times. I think he got left, sort of wandering a couple of times, and he didn't have his best of game. Now, with that being said, and I speak about this, like I said, in the video that I'm going to upload on my personal channel a little bit later on. With that being said, it was the first game back, obviously, for all of the Bundesliga players. They've been out for quite some time, and Jean-Clair Todibo hadn't kicked a football in a matter of months. Neither had any of the other players for Schalke. And I get that a lot of people will say, well, neither have Dortmund, and Dortmund absolutely bladdered them and looked like the much better team. They did, but Dortmund are a much better team, let's be perfectly honest. The fact that Everton have apparently bid £20 million for Jean-Clair Todibo, I think it's a very, very good transfer target. I think it's a very, very cheap price. £20 million in this day and age isn't an awful lot, okay? It might be in heightened now, and it might be, seem a little bit more due to what's going on currently in the world. But considering the fact that we may have had to pay upwards of £30 million for Gabriel, and obviously, Lille are looking like a team that are sort of holding out for a better deal for Gabriel. The Todibo rumours and the Todibo transfer does make a little bit of sense. It does. And like I said, Barcelona are said to have seen the bid as very attractive. And Everton and Carlo Ancelotti very clearly have kept, an eye, and Marcel Brands very clearly kept an eye on Todibo during his loan spell at Schalke, which again would make a lot of sense, obviously, due to Marcel Brands coming out before and saying that he's watched a lot of Jonjoe Kenny this season and he's been monitoring Jonjoe Kenny. It would make a lot of sense that he's at the same time been looking at other players for Schalke, including Jean-Clair Todibo, whilst watching Jonjoe Kenny. Again, I'm going to put it in make it happen because it's very, very clear that we want a centre half. It's very, very clear that we need another centre back. I'm not entirely convinced that Yerry Mina or Michael Keane are good enough to partner Mason Holgate going forward, especially if we're going to be a team that are fighting for that top six, are fighting to get into that European place, whether it be the Europa League or ultimately the Champions League within the next couple of years or so. And I think Todibo's a defender with a lot of potential, a lot of quality, a lot of talent. Okay, he didn't showcase it at best on Saturday, but I think within the next couple of weeks or so, the more we watch the Bundesliga and the more we see Todibo, I think we'll see a good player, and a player that Barcelona obviously value at quite a decent price, and a player that Barcelona and Juventus may also be quite interested in, and that potentially as to why the bid hasn't been accepted as of yet. But that's coming from Sport, I believe, at a Spanish publication via Sport Witness, and it states that Everton have bid £20 million for Barcelona defender Jean-Clair Todibo, who obviously is currently on loan at Schalke. Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section down below. Really, really do appreciate all the support. If you're watching live, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. 15 subscribers, currently off 1,750. So if you could hit that subscribe button, it'd mean an absolute massive amount to me. Don't forget to go and follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well. Links are down in the description. We've got another transfer rumour to talk about, but before we dive into that, I'm going to dive into the live comments and see what everybody is saying. Eugene says Everton have confirmed that Carlo Ancelotti and his squad will begin to report back to training at USM Finch Farm on Wednesday. So yeah, I'll talk about that briefly in the video as well. If you didn't know, the Premier League, all of the stakeholders of Premier League teams had a meeting today, and they come to the conclusion that Premier League teams would return to training in small groups as of this week. Everton then announced about an hour later that Carlo Ancelotti and a number of his players will return to USM Finch Farm on Wednesday. It won't be the entire squad, it won't be everybody at once mixed together, but it will just be specific small groups of players, one at a time, returning to training, ultimately to begin getting themselves back to match fitness in preparation for the return of the Premier League, which in my opinion is only a couple of weeks away. I think we'll be watching Premier League football within the next 3 or 4 weeks. I really, really do. Whether that, Whether that's right or not, I just think that's the way it's going to be. So yeah, Everton are due to return back to training on Wednesday. Reece says, how are we everyone? I'm not too bad, mate. Hope you're doing well. Jonathan says, hello, mate. Kev says, how's Davy Classen's footy going? He was someone I wanted as well. Again, I'm not too sure. I haven't watched a lot of Davy Classen since he left Everton. It just didn't work out for him, did it? Not to say he's a bad footballer. I think he's a good footballer, but it just didn't work out for him. Jeff says, alright Cam, looking forward to seeing the boys back. This crap has gone on long enough, hasn't it? It has, mate, it has. But, again, I stick to my opinion that I only want to see football return if it's absolutely, completely safe to do so. And again, I don't want to give too much away about my opinions on the Bundesliga last weekend. But if you go ahead and watch that video a little bit later on, you'll hear them. I wasn't massively impressed, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But I understand where you're coming from. It has been a long, long time. Kev says, get him holding the shirt with the chairman, too many names. Eugene says, Everton have confirmed that the first team squad will return on Wednesday. There you go. Wayne says, kind of annoyed with you, no show on Friday, Cam. Us in lockdown, look forward to the Mighty Blues Friday fix sorted out. Lads, sorry, mate. Sorry, I do apologise. Listen, it was my fault. I said I'd be back with the video or the live stream on Friday. I was a little bit busy, so I decided to sort of just leave it to alleviate some stress and have a little bit of a rest. I do apologise. I know, bad on my part. It won't happen again. I'm sorry. If you missed the little roundup video yesterday, you can check that out after today's stream. We talk about Moise Keane and the season ticket situation that Everton announced yesterday as well. So I hope that's good enough. Jeff says Wayne Cam was busy Friday, but he did a live stream Saturday instead. I done a video on Sunday. Jeff, you're right. Where Hernandez says, when do you think the move will happen if it does for Rabiot? Do you think the market will open as normal or will it modify to accommodate? All the best, mate. Thank you very much. All the best to you too. I definitely think they will modify to accommodate, if I'm being honest with you. If it was to happen, I don't think it'll happen until after the Premier League season. I think Carlo Ancelotti will want another look at his squad, another look at his midfield, another look at the players that ultimately he then decides who has a future at the football club and who doesn't have a future at the football club. So I don't think we'll see Everton do any business until about a month, maybe couple of weeks to a month into the transfer window and after the Premier League season has finished. Kev says Leipzig let me down on Saturday. 11-4 draw, 1-1. Lookman got in boss positions and was dead poor. Yeah, he missed the sitter. He missed the sitter. Kev says no fans, it was crap. It was. Jeff says, is Rabiot any good? I've never seen him play. He's not a bad player. He's not a bad player. He's a decent player. He is. Again, there's questions around his attitude. There's questions around whether he's in the peak of his career or he's already past that moment. But he's a decent player. It all just depends on how much money Juventus would want for him and ultimately how much money he'd want in wages as well. And Anders says, Bundesliga games were boring and Schalke looked as though they hadn't trained in months. Felt like pre-season match. Exactly, spot on. Kev says, I haven't seen him play myself. Wayne says, wanted your thoughts on letting Feeney go and a few others we've released. Shame they all had injuries. Yeah, Everton announced yesterday, or it was announced by The Echo or released by The Echo, however you want to say it, that Morgan Feeney will be leaving the football club at the end of June the 30th, I believe it is, when his contract expires. He won't be given a new contract. Matty Fields is also another central defender that will be leaving the football club. It's disappointing because I think both of those players were players that at one point fans thought would break into the first team and would ultimately be playing first team football. However, it just doesn't work for some players, does it? It's a little bit worse, I think, for somebody like Morgan Feeney, who's grown up an Evertonian, and obviously his dream has been to be playing consistently in the Premier League for Everton, so it is a little bit disappointing, but it's football, isn't it, at the end of the day, and hopefully both players and the rest of the players that, will be released at the end of the season can go on and find themselves at another club and ultimately improve their career. And Kev says, no wonder Sky Bet went 9-2 from 5-2 pre-season footy, and Reece says he's a decent player. Yeah, we'll get back into the live comments in just a second. Let's dive into another transfer rumour then. So this one is coming directly from the Mirror, and it is stating that Everton are chasing Saint-Etienne winger Denis Bouanga after his club admitted they may have to sell him because of financial issues caused by COVID-19 or the coronavirus pandemic. Now again, I don't know an awful lot about the player. I'm not going to concede to know an awful lot about the player. However, it's really, really interesting that Everton are being linked with a winger. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in possibly because I think out of the entire positions on a football pitch, it's very clear that Everton need a right back in the in the next transfer window. It's very clear that we need an attacking midfielder or a creative midfielder. It's very clear that we either need a centre back or a defensive midfielder, depending on where Jean-Philippe Gbamin is going to be played upon his return to fitness. And for me, I think it's also quite clear that we need another winger. We need another player that can play either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, or preferably on both sides. Because, Bernard, as much as we all love him, and as much as we all think he's a decent player, he hasn't been consistent enough. He's been nowhere near, consistent enough since he's joined Everton Football Club. He's very, very good. He's very, very talented. He's got a lot of skill. However, we do need to see more consistency out of him. And Theo Walcott, for me, is on the downward spiral, and is a player that, if we could get 15 million from him, if somebody bid 10, 15 million from him, I'd probably sell him. Alex Iwobi's career at Everton so far hasn't turned out exactly how we would want to, and ultimately for me, I don't think he's a winger. I think he's more of a central midfield player. So for me, I think we should be after a winger this coming transfer window, and I think Bouanga is a decent player, a player that we could potentially bring in on the cheap because of the financial situation that Saint-Etienne are in, and I definitely think he would improve our squad as well, and he will provide that competition for the likes of Bernard and Iwobi and Walcott, and the other players that currently play along those wings that simply aren't doing it consistently enough. So I'm going to put this one in possibly straight away, because again, it's a transfer rumour. It's coming from the Mirror, who can be reliable, can also chat absolute shite as well at times, and again, I haven't seen it an awful lot. I haven't seen it pop up an awful lot. I've only seen it that one time a couple of days ago. So again, I'm putting that one in possibly straight away on the pure basis that I think that Carlo Ancelotti and Marcel Brands could potentially be after a winger this summer, and he is a player that his club will definitely look to sell, and potentially even for a decent price due to the financial situation that they are in. If you're enjoying the team so far, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Reece says he's a decent player. He is. Wayne says Pellegrini over Rabiot every day of the week. I agree, mate. I'd rather have Pellegrini, but I just don't think Pellegrini would come to Everton, if I'm being honest with you, and I think that he would demand a lot in wages, and I think that he probably is headed to be turned by the likes of a PSG or another club that are currently playing in the Champions League. Kev says that Leipzig were terrible against Freiburg. Reece says should go and get Zaniolo from Roma. Jeff says Feeney going seems to be a shame. I thought he had promise, but Ancelotti has grand plans, and the only is the best is good enough. We should make that our motto. There you go. Kev says can sell Keane in instalments. Wayne says Pellegrini makes sense. He's what we're after: a good price, good age, nice height and slot, a pace and good at set pieces. He's ideal, mate. He's absolutely ideal, but I'm just not convinced he'd come to Everton, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I'm just not convinced. Alex says, have you heard the winger from Sheffield Wednesday called Eric Shun? I haven't heard about him. Again, I always get thingy with players I've never heard of, because I don't know if it's a sick one, but no, I've not heard of him. Faz says, please God, not Rabiot. He just isn't good enough to improve the team. Fair enough. That's your opinion. Let me know your thoughts on that. Is Rabiot good enough to improve Everton? Would you want him in the Everton side going forward? Kev says, I want a proper goal scorer who can hang our hat on again. And again, ideally we would have a goal scorer like a Lukaku was for Everton, and a natural goal scorer, if you like. But for me, I don't think striker should be a priority this summer. I think we've got two very, very good strikers in Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I'm happy to go into next season with those as our two main strikers, as well as Moise Keane as a little bit of a backup. Reece says, would you move Richie to the left or right up and buy another striker? No, I'd keep him up front. Wayne says, there's no fans footballers. Josh, I agree. Jeff says, Barca won Pjanic. Ewan says, Premier League chairman on latest plans, Liverpool Echo. Kev says, yeah, I'd put him on the wing or inside left, as my fella would say. Fair enough. Wayne says Reece, yes, to add more goals, been saying that for ages. And Anders says, look, shite this weekend, to be fair, the entire team is shite. Hope we aren't trying to buy another injured player. Yeah, I agree, to be fair, really. The whole of Schalke's team were shite. Jeff says, agree, Wayne, I got bored after 20 minutes watching the Bundesliga, but for Everton I'd take it. Yeah, and again, it will be different for Everton. Watching your team playing in that environment will be much different to watching any other team. For me, like I said, I thought it was shite. I really, really did thought it was shite. But it'll be different when I'm watching Everton, and when I'm watching Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and when I'm watching Richarlison, and when I'm watching Mason Holgate out there kicking the ball in the royal blue shirt. It will be different. There'll be an emotional connection, and I'll feel differently about it. But I just really didn't like it. Ewan says Project Restart training rules. It is on Sky Sports right now. Kev says cheap. Everton, give me the phone. Alex says I'm so happy Davy Klassen is going down. That's not very nice. She says, have you heard? I know that one. I'm not going to say that one. Ray says, hope we use some more in the squad. These dead rubber matches, Gordon Sims and a few more youth instead of the rejects we're selling. Yeah, you know, maybe this is an opportunity for the youth players to come through and maybe be used in these type of matches. Kev says, another look. We've seen enough. It's not enough for the money we've shelled out and built nothing around. I know that one. Shame not falling for that one. Hernandez says, any updates on when Gbamin can become full training? Still super interested in how he will go on, as he is boss in FIFA. He is boss in FIFA, mate. He's absolutely quality, but no updates as of now. He's still in his recovery, his recovery situation. Jeff says, I was wondering about Gbamin too. Is he fit yet? He's not fit. He's training. He's doing a little bit of training here and there, I believe, what he was before, obviously, Finch Farm closed, but he's not match fit yet. Kev says, Everton sniffing around for a bankruptcy deal there, right in. Wayne says, good to know Mashiri Newsbanoff still making money and going up in the rich list. Yes, we spoke about that in yesterday's little recap video. That's really, really good news. Cal says, we don't need the centre-back for cover, but not to start the main positions, right back, CAM and right mid. I believe we need those positions. I do think we need the centre-back as well, if I'm being honest, Cal. Wayne says about Mashiri. Kev says Gbamin, where's he? He's bad, but he's been injured, and so it's not his fault. Cal says Rabiot's world class. He is not a bad proper bad attitude. Fair enough. Abigail says, watch a lot of German football. Gbamin was brilliant at Myers. He was great at centre-back and think that it's where he sees himself in the future. He's great in centre midfield. There you go. Fair enough. Jeff says, Cam, you daft bugger. I'll erect Sean. I've just got it there. Just got it there. There you go. Clip that. Cal says, Gbamin was a good signing. Just had a bad injury. I agree. Tom says, linked with so many. Can't wait to sign a top player to get the ball rolling. Think we need to go all out for Koulibaly to make a statement and attack some big name players. Good stuff, Cam. Thank you very much. I agree, mate. I'd love to bring in a Koulibaly. Whether he'd come or not, I don't know, but I would absolutely love it. Cal says we shouldn't go in for Koulibaly. We pay 80 million plus for a 29-year-old. We never have the right manager to spend the money. Yeah, if we'd had to spend sort of 80 million, I probably wouldn't go in for him, but I don't know whether we potentially be able to get him on a little bit cheaper. And he also says, Cam, have you seen the video of Lukaku saying that he'll always be a toffee? I haven't, mate. I haven't. Link me it on Twitter and I'll have a little look at it. And Alex says, what's your job? I work in business admin, mate. A little bit boring, really. Just do admin emails and calls, etc. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Only 15 subscribers away from 1,750, so if you could subscribe, it mean a massive amount to me. A big thanks for all of the support on the channel as per usual. It means a massive amount to me. Don't forget to hit the like button on this stream if you have enjoyed as well. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments as per usual. If you're watching a YouTube video, please leave your thoughts in the comment section down below and I'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Let me know your thoughts on all of the transfers that we've spoken about today as per usual. Would you want Adrien Rabiot at Everton? Are you happy that Everton are going in for Jean-Clair Todibo? What would your reaction be if we will have, if we had officially come out and say we'd bid £20 million for him? And how excited would you be at the potential prospect of Lorenzo Pellegrini joining Everton Football Club? Let me know your thoughts on all of those in the comment section down below. Like I said, if you're interested in hearing my thoughts about the return of the Bundesliga and the return of football, I'll have a video going up on my personal channel at around about 8 o'clock tonight. The link to that channel is in the description down below, so you can click on that, subscribe to that, and you should get a notification if you click the little bell when that goes up, and you'll be able to listen and have a little watch of that. It's only about 10 minutes long. I just wanted to put it up on there because it's not really to do with Everton, so I thought I'd throw it there instead. Carl says, Cam, do you know one player who will be a team signing for me? I don't know, Cal. I'm going to say Grealish, maybe. Jeff says, cheers, Cam. Latest fella, thank you very much. Latest, Jeff. You need to see about the toffees and see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much. And Cal says, Rakitic will be incredible. There you go. He would be a fantastic signing. Wayne says, nice one. Have a boss week, Blues. Thank you very much, Wayne. Really appreciate that. I'll be back on Wednesday, 5:15 for another live stream. So don't forget to subscribe if you are new to the channel. Leave a like on the stream if you enjoyed as well. Alex says, follow me on Insta. Leave your Insta there, mate, and I'll have a little look at it in a bit, and I'll drop you to follow. And Cal says, it's my birthday, happy birthday to Cal. Big happy birthday to Cal. Everybody wish him a happy birthday. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Join me on Wednesday, 5:15 for another live stream. Really do appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.